this video, I'm going to go over the define wash command. Define wash. So starting off the bat, at the title, I'll explain why it's called define washing curve. Going back to the specific gravity analysis lab sheets that are often produced, we can kind of see with these graphs that I've drawn that for each of these attributes, you are defining a curve. Two curves, in fact. One information is, at this wash density, what will my attribute be? In this case, ash or calorific value, ash calorific value of my float material and sink material. That is all contained because at F150, this is the float value at 165. There's an implicit sink material that's occurring here. I calculate that automatically, and this information is stored if you're following the proper formatting. In this example, there's fractional and cumulative. And in define wash, I don't make the user double enter it twice. They can enter one mode they prefer, whatever they like reading off, and go from there. But I'll take a step back to the source drill hole. This is used in the next command, the apply wash command, which will take this and apply it on some input material. By selecting the drill hole where something is coming from or typing it in, this will allow the command to run a little bit faster. It'll match up the drill hole to where it occurred from, as well as just helping the user understand where their data is being sourced. Okay, so fractional cumulative I've described. Next we have the add float level, which is adding these floats. Adding attributes adds the attributes, so adding the column. To edit the title, you can call this calorific value, and hit OK. And we'll see that header has changed. This will delete the selected row, or delete the attribute. You cannot. You are always required that you float density, and you cannot edit these titles just because they are the required information and their position as density as the first column and mass as the second column are required. You also, at minimum, need one float level and one sink level to define what's happening with my float values, what's happening with my sink values. And you'll see that the last sink always takes the density. At this density, this is the last kind of known information about the sink material. You can also load information. And you see here, this is kind of what would fill out, and I'd actually base this example file here. If you compared, we also have some nice data checks in here. So if you're trying to enter in, the density has to be in increasing order. If you try and save this, try and give you the warning of where we notice that error break. And with cumulative as well, I'll return that 1.5. We add a requirement where the mass has to be increasing. So if you try and save this, cumulative curve must have increasing mass, and you can return that. I think 0.1 will say. So you can also save these. 0.1. Oh yeah, none of these are increasing. Okay, so we can also save this. And save it as that copy. And if we open up, where did we save that wash file? So this is the item we had just saved. You can open these files, the .wash. They're just a comma separated text file. So if you prefer and you're confident in your ability to enter this, you can type it in within Excel. Data, text columns. Text to CSV. Oh no. Text columns, there we are. Text width limited by the comma. So you could edit this in Excel, and if you save as a CSV, it should be able to reload. It will not have the checks that I had laid out. If you try and load an invalid file, it will not work, so be very careful with that. But if that's your preferred editing mode with a large amount of information, or you're able to copy paste, as long as you follow that format with this information, with these header lines correctly laid out, need to include the unit type, need to include the total material as well, you should be good. But if you're having difficulty, just come back and enter it in manually here. That's it for the define wash command. Load save as. Everything. That's it. Pretty much all for this command. Up next, we'll go over the apply wash and how we actually use these files.